Do you think that millennials, it's said that they need to learn toughness and resilience a bit more, need to toughen up, but at the same time, there's a move in this generation, which I think is very welcome, towards greater sensitivity and engaging with one's feelings. There's a huge rise in people seeing therapists. There's a huge rise, there's just a greater movement towards mental health. But some people say that you can be overly indulgent. So what do you think is more needed in this generation? What's the right balance between resilience versus being sensitive to one's emotions?
First of all, I think that the move towards therapy and a need for therapy, I think that's probably an indication of an unhealthy psyche, right? I think that in a normal generation, people probably don't need to be helped, to be taught how to simply be normal. Of course, if it's needed, one should avail oneself of it. So I think, yes, it is a generation that has lost touch with the genuine and the basic common sense and the basic elements of personality. I think that's true. And I think that where therapy is necessary, that
Can you expand on what you mean by that? We've lost.
Yes, well, I think in this pre-messianic generation, far as we are from the spiritual source, as we said before, it's natural to lose touch. When you live in a culture that teaches that there's no real absolute meaning, and there's nothing really beyond your experience, that's very disconcerting. Can be very, very alienating. Can lead to a real existential pain. The answer to that is religion, good religion, not superficial, cheap religion, but good religion. The problem in the world today is not religion, it's bad religion, right? And therefore, people connected to a sense of meaning that is absolute frame of reference. That's the healthiest form of grounding and orientation that you could possibly hope for. Resilience and toughness, possibly, yes, probably. I think it is a spoiled generation in some sense. Of course, it depends where you're talking. If you're talking about American culture, for example, which dominates a lot of Western culture, it does tend to be a culture that has lost touch with its own genuine self. I mean, whether you refer to, daily mass shootings or many aspects of Western culture. So probably resilience, I think it probably boils down to common sense and just being grounded in the norms.
Mm. And where do you, if you had to pick one, what would you say you think the average person in Western society needs more of?
One what?
One fact of sensitivity or resilience.
I'm not sure they conflict with each other, Ollie. I mean, I think that there's an array of issues. I'm not sure I could pick one.
Well, for example, let's say someone's dealing with an issue.
Yes.
When you're counselling people,
yes,
is your message more of learn to be resilient and get on with it and toughen up, or
okay,
let's talk it through and think about it and hear your feelings out?
I have a strong feeling that the most basic component you need for personal development is objectivity, to see things as they are. The most difficult thing to see as it is yourself. That's why you need a teacher who can reflect back to you things that you wouldn't see about yourself. Mm. But I think if you forced me to choose one quality, it is you could call it truth or objectivity, to see things as they are. You counsel, you talk about counseling person, you talk to a person going through difficulties, the first thing is to read the situation correctly. In fact, if a therapist can do that very well, very often no more is needed. Right. As soon as the person can see clearly, right, that they're making a big fuss about a trivial thing and everything's getting destroyed in the process, and they can see that and make that shift, that's often all that is needed.
Yeah.
To stay up to date with JTV content, click subscribe here if you're on YouTube and hit the alarm bell. And if you're on Facebook, hit the like button, and under following, click see first. If you enjoy watching JTV content and want to help us continue to grow, please consider making a donation to us by clicking here.